Victor, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. So thank you so much for making the time to chat with me again today. I really appreciate it. And I really want to ask you about something which comes up all the time, which is buying before you sell your house. So you're with Santa Cruz Lending, yeah?
Right.
So I'm assuming with a name like that, a lot of your work is in Santa Cruz, right?
That's true.
That's true. Okay, so what happens, quite often is we have people who are coming from out of the area, maybe from like, the Bay Area, say, and they want to, buy a house in Santa Cruz, but they don't want to like put their house on the market, where they currently live before they find the house. And so
Mhm.
they are really interested in doing what they call buy before you sell. So, Victor, what can they do? Let's just say that you come down for a weekend in Santa Cruz and you see a house and you fall in love. You're like, man, I want to buy that house, but but offers are due like in 5 days, and I don't have my house on the market, and I got to get this house. Like, how does that work? Can somebody do that? What's that like?
Yeah. So I get this question pretty often as well. There's really three options. Two of them probably take you too long if you're talking about a short period, like
Yeah, let's
what
only
you
look at
just
the
mentioned,
short-term stuff here. Let's look at
short-term
the quick
stuff.
and easy.
Okay. Quick and
Let's make this
easy.
easy for people.
Easy for people. Then you can do buy before you sell, and the name is a bridge loan, and what that means is that a lender will let you borrow 100% of the new value or of the price you're looking for to purchase that property in essence, almost like cash. There's a process and there's calculations that you need to run as far as you having enough equity in your property and also figuring out what you're going to do once you do sell your house.
Okay. All right. So a bridge loan. All right. So that's a term I've heard ever since I've been in real estate. But what does that actually look like? So, I mean, like, do you need to get like appraisals or, how long does it take to get the paperwork through? I mean, can you walk me through that whole process? Like, I see the house I want to buy. Okay, there's a product out there for me. I'm going to call you, Victor. What happens? What's the first thing that needs to happen in order to actually be able to make an offer on that property?
So there's like just to be clear, there's different types of bridge loans. So I'll just talk in a general sense. But in a general sense, you contact me saying you found a house, you haven't listed your house for sale, but you want to immediately put an offer on this property. So the first thing we would do is figure out what your exit strategy would be. Is like in an ideal world, if you did have the time to sell your property, would your qualifying look like? Would you be able to qualify after the fact for a mortgage of the remaining amount of loan after you bought? Once we figure that part out and it looks like you would be able to qualify, then we reach out to the bridge lender. We have a couple of them that we work with, and we'd have a conversation regarding the scenario. They usually can turn around with the decision back to us in as little as 1 to 3 days. So in 1 to 3 days, they get an answer to us saying, "Hey, you have enough equity, your story matches, or whatever the details are that will be are what we're talking about." And give us essentially a pre-approval letter. That pre-approval letter, what it basically would state is we still have to go through escrow. As far as an appraisal on your property and the other property, they use an automated evaluation method called AVM to come up with the values, and they most likely can do that before you get pre-approved. And then once you have that letter, what they'll basically talk to you about the terms. It does cost a little bit of money to do this. Usually you're looking a little over 2% of the new loan. That 2% amount is something that's built into the new loan. So you can actually, depending on your equity stance, you can actually roll that into along with some of the closing costs. Okay.
So let's just say that I have a house today in the Bay Area, say, and I have like like $2 million in equity. Like after I sell, after I pay my tax, I'm walking away with 2 million. And the house I want to buy in Santa Cruz is only like 1.7 million, right?
Okay.
So I'm not going to need a loan when I buy my house, when I pay cash for it after I sell my house. But I am going to need to borrow from you temporarily $1.7 million, right? Or maybe
Yeah.
even I have a couple 100,000. Maybe I only need to borrow $1.5 million. But could I borrow the whole entire amount? I could borrow 1.7, like if I had no cash, I could borrow all the cash, including closing costs, or no?
Correct. You could borrow the whole thing.
Okay, all the cash, including closing costs.
Mhm.
And so, but now long term, I'm not going to have any mortgage on that property because I have enough cash after I sell my house to buy the house in Santa Cruz for cash. So, in terms of qualifying for that mortgage to get that short-term bridge financing, what is it like to qualify for that? Do I need any income at all? Like if I'm retired, like if I'm 70 years old and I just want to do this, do I need income to qualify for that, or is it solely based on my equity?
It's solely based on the equity. Like in your example, you were gonna net more than what the new property you're gonna buy is. So they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care that you don't have the income to be able to pay the difference or the amount. The loan is a short-term loan, so they can vary from one month to 11 months. So they do give you some time to pay it back, depending on which investor we use. Um, yeah, there's really no qualifying. Now, if you are going to have a loan afterwards, like let's say that in that example, you would need to take on, say, a $200,000 loan after the fact. Once we do all the math, then yeah, that's when you would need to qualify for just that $200,000 loan. And the bridge lender, really what they're using is our pre-approval or our good judgment that we're going to be able to get you financing after the fact to be able to offer you the bridge loan.
Okay, so in other words, so let's just say that I did need, like, I didn't have enough equity in my current property to buy a new property for cash in Santa Cruz. I would then need to get pre-approved for like a regular traditional 30-year fixed or whatever, 15-year
Whatever you want.
maybe, or
Mhm.
whatever, some kind of longer term financing.
Mhm.
I get approved through you for that, and it's all estimated because we're not sure exactly, how much your house is going to sell for necessarily, or
Mhm.
even how much the one in Santa Cruz might cost, because there could be a bidding war, right? Could go up in price,
Mhm.
right? I mean, that's certainly possible. But let's just say I get pre-approved through you for like 300, $400,000 in long-term financing. That is something that has to happen at the time I apply for the bridge loan. Is that correct? Like,
That is correct, but let me clarify a little bit of the language. Is we actually would need just a pre-qualification. We wouldn't even need a pre-approval letter.
oh, a pre-qualification.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we can even do like a soft credit report pool if you don't want your credit pool. We can, look over your general sense of your finances. It just the lender's not really looking for something hard. They're just looking for an idea of what that would look like, because obviously they're lending. The majority of the reason they're lending is because of your strong equity stance. That's what they're putting the majority of the weight on.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So again, so the fees are, it's 2% of the amount borrowed for the bridge loan, right? So like, let's just say I'm borrowing $1.7 million. You said it was 2% or 2.5%? What'd you say it was?
Depends on the investor, but let's just call it 2% for now. Yeah.
2%. So if I'm borrowing $1.7 million, that'd be $34,000 in
Mhm.
fees, right? But there's no interest on top of that, or how does that work?
Depends on the investor, but yeah, one investor does not have interest. But they do give you a short window to sell. Could be as little as 3 months. The other investor does have interest, but they give you almost up to a year to pay back.
Okay.
So
Well, 3 months is no problem. I can get a house sold in Silicon Valley in 3 months. I can get one sold in a lot less time than that, if need be.
yeah,
And after you negotiate a rent back, right, with whoever buys your house, right, you can have a rent back, stay in your house in the Bay Area for up to 2 months, right, and then
yeah.
move gracefully into your new home after you pay it off with the proceeds from the sale of your house. So that actually is going to be pretty easy to do. So there's no monthly payments at all.
On that program, there's no monthly payments. On the secondary investor we're talking about, there's no monthly payments. They do, however, require a home inspection. That's one thing you should know when it's just like a short period of time like that, because they want to make sure that there's nothing significantly problematic with the property that you are selling.
Oh, okay.
Because they're trying to sell it in 3 months. So if there's
Right.
like foundation issues or major
Oh,
roof issues, then something that you would need to keep in mind going down that road.
so they need a home inspection before they will approve you for the bridge
This
loan.
is true.
Oh,
This for
that's
the
important to
short.
know.
No, this is for the short term one. This is
Right.
when,
Yeah.
if you're doing the long term one, they don't care because the 11 months you can fix it,
Right.
right? But on the short term one, they want to make sure that you're going to be able to sell it within the 3 months, and that's one of their one of their requirements.
So when you say a home inspection, is that like Joe Blow Home Inspection Company, or is it like a specific company that they choose, or how does that work? You know?
No, it's what I think home inspectors are licensed by the state. If
They're not in California, but there are.
Mm,
Yes, I know, right? I know, the land of the free,
mm,
California. If you haven't heard,
I will find
no,
out
there.
for you. I will find out for you if they want their own. But from what I
Well,
gathered,
there's
it
there's
was just a
ASHI certified, right? There's
yeah,
American Society of
certified.
Home Inspectors, ASHI certified, which
Yeah.
is most home inspectors are ASHI certified, but there's no state licensing requirement for a home
Oh, there you
inspector.
go.
Yeah, great
Learn
gig. I
something
always tell
new.
people, hey, you want to get in the real estate business? Become a home inspector,
Oh
right?
God,
That's
I don't know. I don't want the liability. Goodness gracious. No less.
liability. They never get
Yeah.
sued. I mean, you just have insurance for that. Come on now.
Well,
So,
so I guess the just to point out the fact, with the fees and that you'd be incurring, really the point is that not only can you move quickly, but also whenever you do, and you know this better than I do, whenever you do a contingent sale, usually you have to either pay more than your competition because you have a contingency sale, so you're
right,
going to artificially pay more for your new
right. The
house.
contingency tax, I call it.
And then, or the second thing that happens is you'll need to accept an offer on your place that might be less favorable than if you didn't have to sell it to buy this new house. If it once the pressure's off, you could hypothetically get a better deal on the house you're buying and also sell your house for a little bit larger profit, which should make up more than enough for for the fee that you're actually going to end up incurring to take on the bridge loan.
Right. Well, not only that, but I mean, just getting a contingent offer accepted in a multiple offer situation, that is just tough,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
like
yeah.
dollars for donuts, there's going to be multiple offers on any house that you want to buy in Santa Cruz because, if you like the house, probably someone else is going to like it too. There might be two, three, four, five or
Mhm.
more offers maybe on the property. So when you make your offer on when you make your bridge loan offer or your buy before you sell offer on the property, do you need an appraisal? Do you need a loan contingency? What is that like?
Now you're getting into some gray area. So technically, you are obtaining a loan, and technically, the new property does have a lien on it. Once you've been pre-approved, usually within that 1 to 3 day mark, they stand behind their pre-approvals. So very rarely do we see issues because the math is pretty simple on how they would do it. And they're not really qualifying you. So that's going to be upon the discretion of the buyer, whether it's something that they want to take on or not, when it comes to the financing contingency.
Well, how long would it take to fund a loan like this? Let's just say, I see a house, offers are due in 5 days. I get my home inspection on my outgoing house, and I get that all done, and I'm ready in 5 days. When I write an offer on that, how much time do I need to close the sale? Or, I mean, I don't need an appraisal contingency. Doesn't sound like they're not going to do an appraisal on the new house, are they?
They're not going to do appraisal, no,
Right, so no
AVA.
appraisal contingency, obviously. So,
Mhm.
but how long do I need to close? Can I close it in 10 days or
They quote us 17 to 21 days.
17 to 21
Mhm.
days? Okay,
Yeah.
let's just call it 3 weeks. And then it would sound like probably not a good candidate to give you rent back to the seller on that one because you need to
Correct.
be selling your other property.
Mhm.
Although I guess you could, but that would not be ideal, right?
Well, if you did a rent back, then I'd probably structure it so that they're paying your interest on the loan, you know?
Right. Oh, so there is interest that you pay as you have that bridge loan out for
That is for the longer term one,
the
yes.
longer term, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, you
yeah,
don't have one
yeah,
out. Okay, so
yeah.
3 weeks, and it's between you and your maker if you want to have a loan contingency on that. No appraisal contingency though.
Mhm.
So have you heard about anybody having any kind of like issues like having a seller not understand what kind of financing you're using, right? Because it's a little bit out of the box. Have you heard anything about that being a problem, getting an offer accepted with a bridge loan?
Surprisingly, I haven't because everybody views it as cash because you're
Right.
not technically financing it. The problem I have run into, or I haven't run into, but the problem I have heard about is problems that come after the fact when you can't either sell the house in time or you need an extension on your bridge loan. Those do sometimes come up, but they're working with Seb, so we're fine,
Right. Well,
right?
that would not be a problem. I can assure you, if you work with me to sell your home in the Bay Area, we will get it sold and for an amazingly high price and so fast it's going to make your head spin. But you can always have that nice, 1 or 2 month free rent back after you sell it. So
Yeah, yeah.
no worries about needing to get out of your house too quickly. Well, Victor, this sounds really great, actually. And so I don't need any cash up front. You just roll it into the cost of the loan when you pay it back, after you sell your current house. So that sounds pretty easy. The approval process sounds like it's actually also pretty easy. It really only takes a few days. I don't need a full approval, just a pre-qualification. Is there anything that I'm missing here that I need to know, like before I decide I want to go down this route?
There's nothing, I mean, really, reaching out to a lender that, is familiar with the program. That's step number one, because then they can do the quick math and look over the finances. We could figure it out in a phone conversation if it's something that would make sense or that they would be able to fund, and if it looks good, then we would do all the pre-qualification with them and do all that. So the first thing is really a phone conversation, to get some details.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so, I mean, 2% sounds like a lot of money. I mean, $1.7 million, but how much would you charge somebody to loan them $1.7 million, right? Probably a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
So
yeah.
2% actually is not very much money. And when you look at the contingency tax, which what you would have to pay to beat any otherwise comparable offer, it's gonna be at least 2%, maybe 3 or
Mhm.
4%, if they would even take the deal. And a lot of times they just won't take the deal because they
Right.
don't want contingent offers. I mean, a lot of realtors and sellers, they have this phobia around contingent offers.
Mhm.
So, this is a really nice way around that, and does
Mhm.
have a fast closing. So it sounds like a really great program. So, Victor, how can people get a hold of you to talk about getting one of these buy before you sell bridge loans going?
They should reach out to you to get my contact info. Is that how it works, Seb?
No, they should contact you directly.
Directly,
I'm hard to
directly.
reach. No, I'm easy to reach, but I mean, maybe you're the expert, right? So maybe you just want to ask some questions. They want to
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
you. How do they get a hold of you?
Probably phone is the best way. You can text me or call me. I can give you my number, 831-214-2172. Maybe you could put it somewhere here.
Yes, I will put it right there at the bottom
Yeah,
of your
yeah. I'll
screen.
give you
Well,
my
I'm not sure where
signature.
your
Yeah.
screen's going to be, but yeah, I'll put it somewhere.
Yeah,
And then
that's the best place to start. And we just have a quick conversation. It'll be easy. And then from there, get an idea if this is a good product for you.
and can they just text you with that number as well?
This is true. Yes.
Will it be a blue message or will it be a green?
It's gonna be a blue one.
What's that?
Even though I have a PC, Seb, we were just talking about it, and not an
Right.
Apple, I do have an Apple phone.
Right. So it's going to be a blue text message. Well, that's people want to know. People want to know.
That's
All
funny.
right, and okay. Well, it's nice about the iMessage, and you can text over PDF documents too, right? And it's all secured, 128-bit encryption, right? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's a very secure messaging platform. A lot of
Mhm.
people in Silicon Valley concerned with that kind of thing.
Mm.
Well, Victor, thank you so much. I bet that basically tells me everything that I need to know, and I am really appreciative of the time that you've been able to spend with me here today.
I appreciate your time.